Better? Yes? Cool. Okay. So like Arwa said, my name's Samiya King. I'm a student here at Stevenson. I study computer information systems, but I'm not going to talk to you about computers at all today, so it's not going to be boring, I hope. Today I'm going to talk to you about my journey to body positivity and self-love. While at Stevenson, I've definitely grown as a person, and I think the most that I've grown is on my body image, so hopefully you learned something today about me. So for a significant period of my life, I truly believed that all of my problems could be solved if I just lost weight. We've seen those weight loss stories in the media where people have lost like 100 pounds and suddenly their lives change exponentially. And I told myself that I wanted that, like I wanted that so badly. But sometimes they don't tell you in the media that those success stories don't last for long periods of time. I was watching an episode of Access Hollywood, and they had one of the first contestants from The Biggest Loser, and she was telling how on the show she lost over 100 pounds, and then a few months later she gained it all back and more. And I could connect with her on an emotional level because I too have had that experience. About 2 years ago, I actively tried to lose weight. I lost about 30 pounds and I kept it off for about a year and a half. Just a disclaimer, I have thyroid disease, so it makes it a little harder for me to lose weight and maintain my weight. So I lost that weight, and then I gained it all back. I started binge eating, and that was kind of the source of where all my weight came from. I used it as a coping mechanism whenever I was feeling pretty down about myself. Like, I've always had a negative relationship with food, but it turned into an abusive relationship as the years went on. I won't say there was a specific triggering moment that contributed to my binge eating. However, it was more of like a series of unfortunate events that created this just pattern over the next few months. So at Stevenson, I have a few jobs on campus. For one of the jobs, I applied for kind of what's a promotion. I was really excited about it. I'd been planning to apply for it for about 2 years. And long story short, I didn't get it. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. I didn't allow myself to feel how I should have felt in the moment. Of course, something that's so near to my heart, if I don't get it, I should let myself feel those emotions, but instead I hid those. When I was out in public, I wouldn't let anyone see me sweat. I would say I was fine. You couldn't see me crying. But when I was alone, that was when all of the binge eating started. So I binge eat, words are hard. I started binge eating for about 3 months straight. I would literally eat until I made myself sick. It wasn't that I was hungry, it was more that I was just sad. I remember one particular night, I was just sitting on the floor and I ate my way through like 4 cupcakes, and then I got invited to dinner, and I had to tell my friends that I didn't want to go to dinner because I was so ashamed that I just eaten 4 cupcakes and sat on the floor crying. Like, it's funny now, but it's not funny. Just because I really gave up on so many opportunities because of my binge eating, and I really feel like I missed out on so much. Another thing that kind of happened was that after I'd gained so much weight, I went to a store near campus, and I was purchasing wine because I'm 21 and I can do that. And I went in, and the store clerk, of course he carded me because I look young, and he stared at it for a longer period of time than I would guess was comfortable for me. So I was like, is everything okay? And he said, oh, it's just, you look different. And I was like, in my head, I took that picture when I was 15, so I would hope so. But he went on to say, oh, it's just that your face looks fuller. You should really work on your body more. And I've told a total of 3 people that story because it's probably top 10 one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, because there were about like 5 or 10 people in line behind me that heard that encounter, and I just like couldn't understand how that guy thought it was appropriate to say to a young woman or to anyone about their weight, because people don't realize how traumatic that can be. Sorry, that was hard. While some of you might not understand how traumatic those situations were for me, they were really hard to work through. The only way I got through those experiences wasn't by forgetting about it, or forgiving the guy in the store, or forgiving my supervisors for not believing that I could do the job. It was for forgiving myself for how I spoke to myself. In unfortunate situations, I would usually play on my own insecurities rather than coping with the experience. Lately, I've started to talk to myself like I love myself because for a very long time, I truly did not love who I was. I would tolerate myself, but I wouldn't show myself the unconditional love I deserve every single day. So how did I get here? I'm so glad you asked. I recently discovered the body positive community on Instagram, and it has completely changed how I view myself and the world around me. What body positive means to me is loving my mind, my body, and my soul regardless of the circumstances. I like to compare being body positive to a mother's love. A mother loves her children unconditionally. Loving your body only when it's perfect and without flaws is like a mother only loving her child when they're well behaved. I mean, there may be times when a mother doesn't particularly like her child, but she will always love them. And I make it an effort every single day to use that ideology on my own body. So now I am body positive and body confident. Nonetheless, there are days when I look in the mirror and I don't particularly like what I see, and I get super critical. Honestly, there are some days I don't like certain parts of my body, and I wish I was more outgoing like other people, but I try to stop myself when I have those negative thoughts. I thoroughly believe that comparison is the thief of all joy, and comparing your authentic self to other people, especially famous people you see online, who only show you what they want you to see, is incredibly dangerous. Instead, focus on what makes you authentically you and rock with it. I challenge you to do this. For every negative thought that you have about yourself or your situation, give yourself 2 positive thoughts. One is to balance out the negative, and the other one is to bring positivity into your life. I've been doing that for a few months now, and so far it's helped me remain positive in really difficult situations. Frankly, I struggle to be positive some days, but I've decided that the extra effort is worth it because I am, and I believe all of you are too. Whenever I'm struggling with positivity, I turn to a few outlets other than social media and resources that help me with self-love and confidence. I've always loved to read, so whenever I'm having a stressful day or a stressful situation, I read a good book. One book that I recently read was 10 Things No One Tells Fat Girls, and one of the quotes was, wearing black does not hide the fact that you're overweight, which is something that I really needed to hear, because if anyone knows me, I wear black leggings with everything. I wear the same variation of the same outfit because it makes me comfortable, and reading that kind of just, I don't know, it was like an aha moment. I don't have to wear black because it's flattering. Anything that I put on my body is flattering based on the way that I rock it. So there's that. Some days I like to listen to music and dance around my room. Other days I call my family or my significant other, Chris, just to talk if I'm having a rough day. I found options that work for me and created my go-to self-care guide after it was suggested to me. I challenge you to find what works for you, because self-care is important in order for us to show ourselves love and compassion. In the past few months of my journey to self-love and body positivity, I've learned a number of things that have been instrumental in my growth. So the first thing I learned is that my weight and my self-worth are not mutually exclusive. I remember when I'd talk to people about being overweight, and I'm like, oh, I feel so fat, which is something that I don't like to say anymore, but they would always say, oh, you're so beautiful. Yes, it is possible to be beautiful and overweight. Saying that, oh, you're so beautiful, kind of made me feel like because I was overweight, you had to remind me that I was beautiful. I never forgot. My parents always taught me that I was beautiful. That's not something I've ever struggled with. I have 2 gorgeous parents that made a beautiful child, so not to toot my own horn, but it's just, I felt like it was important to say, because when you're talking to someone who's struggling with their weight, you never want to say something like that, because it is kind of triggering. Regardless of what the number says on the scale, I am the same Samiya at 130 pounds, 110 pounds as I am at 200 pounds. Somehow we've convinced ourselves that being smaller somehow makes you a better person. If being smaller makes you healthier, then lose weight for your health. If you are trying to be smaller to fit an unrealistic beauty standard, listen. In the great philosophical words of Drake, know yourself, know your worth. If you want to lose weight to get healthy, you should do it. If you want to lose weight to feel better about yourself, go ahead and try it, but it might not solve all your problems, which is something I've learned. Everybody is different because everybody is different. I love that quote. Don't try to make yourself look or act like someone else because society told you to. People online that we idolize don't even look like that when they get up in the morning. Be okay with who you are because there can only be one you. One quote that I really like is that you were born an original, so why die a copy? I've also learned that hating one part of yourself can negatively impact your entire life. When I was going out for that promotion, I was struggling with my body image. Before my interview, I was more concerned about finding an outfit that hid the less flattering parts of my body than I was about speaking to 6 intimidating people. There is so much more to life than being skinny. Strive to be the healthiest person you can be, and that includes how you think about yourself. When you take care of yourself with your mind, you start taking care of your body because you realize how important you are. When in doubt, you should always seek help. Visit a counselor, talk to people you love, and be sure to journal your feelings. You won't always be able to do it alone, and it's okay to ask for help when you are struggling with loving yourself, which is something I definitely had to work with because I never liked to ask for help in the past. In those moments, surround yourself with people who are supportive and distance yourself from negative Nancys, even if Nancy is a friend or family member. You don't need that in your life. Like, you already have enough things that you're going through, and having people that are going to discourage you just sets you back. If the people you surround yourself with are being critical and not encouraging you, let them go. You'll see how quickly you'll flourish as soon as you let those people out of your life. I had some friends who turned out to be associates go because we weren't moving in the same direction, and that's okay. Now I'm on a stage doing a TED Talk, which I never would have done, so there's that. It's also important to find what works for you in aspects of like fitness. If you don't like kale, then you don't like kale. There's no way you can force yourself to eat kale if you don't like it. You don't have to run if running is the bane of your existence. Don't forget that you don't have to force yourself to do something just because your favorite celebrity or your friends do it. You can find alternatives. Like, if you hate running, try an aerobic or a Zumba class if you like to dance. You can try yoga or meditation. Also, it's possible to find healthy recipes that don't include chicken, rice, and vegetables. There are a lot of alternatives on Pinterest. Unless, if chicken, rice, and vegetables is your thing and that's your jam, go ahead and eat that. I'm not telling you not to. I'm just saying there are other things out there in the world. The main thing is to just stay encouraged. It won't always be unicorns and rainbows. You won't always be motivated. You won't always be positive, and you won't always be inspired. But never give up on yourself. You are worthy of having everything that life has to offer. As long as you love yourself enough to believe in your abilities, your goals, your dreams, and your passions, you will go as far as you want to. The most important thing I've learned about self-love and body confidence is how loving yourself is so powerful. Throughout my life, I have avoided opportunities because I didn't love who I was. The moment I decided that I was enough, all of the doors opened in my life. I received a promotion at my other job as student manager, and I received a legitimate job offer for after college that I'm super thrilled about. I've never struggled academically. Thanks, Luke. I never struggled academically as far as my GPA, but my academic anxiety has definitely subsided a little bit and become less crippling because I'm confident in my own abilities when I'm in class. Also, my personal relationships have improved, and my significant other and I will be celebrating our 5-year anniversary in April. I've gotten over not getting that promotion because it wasn't what God had in my plans. I did my best, and I've learned that my best is enough. This is probably the happiest I've ever been in my entire life, and I just so happen to be near my heaviest weight. I've decided that my weight or how I look is not as important as how I feel about myself. I no longer seek approval and validation from others, or especially from the mirror. The day that I decided I was worthy of all the love, experiences, and blessings that my life had to offer was the day I actually started living. The only thing I regret is that I didn't love myself sooner. So I challenge you to love yourself unconditionally. I challenge you to discredit the negative self-talk and reward yourself with positive thinking. I challenge you to stop apologizing for the space you take up in the world. I challenge you to do more than just exist. Learn to love yourself at any size. Live your life, love yourself, and most importantly, do it all unapologetically. Thank you.